How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and today we'll be looking at the balance changes for Spawn and Joker. Now, Spawn got some pretty nice buffs, while Joker was nerfed quite a bit. So let's break down these changes step by step after a quick word from today's sponsor. You know what's worse than being beaten by a teabagging scorpion? Having all of your online data stolen. So keep yourself safe with Strong VPN. I've been using them for months now and I'm very satisfied. My gameplay is still fast and fluid, and the entire time I knew my data was safe. And best of all, Strong VPN is super affordable, especially if you use my special link down below for a permanent discount. That's right, permanent. Never worry about your data being stolen ever again. Get protected with Strong VPN today. Alright, now on to the video, and let's begin with Spawn. So the good news is a vast majority of these changes are buffs. So first up we have Straight Pain. This move now has 5 more frames of block stun, so check this out. It is now -4 on block, so before it was punishable? That's crazy. I thought it was going to be positive, but if it got 5 more frames of block stun and it's only -4, that means before you were punished just for doing standing too. Well, thank goodness that's no longer the case. It's now safe on block, which I would argue it always should have been. I mean, for Pete's sake, it's just one move. And on top of the block stun increase, it also has better pushback on block as well. So look at that, just a bit more distance between you and the opponent when they block standing too, otherwise known as Straight Pain. And next up we have the King of Heck. I can't curse, everyone, it's YouTube, you know how it be right now. So this move is now +7 on hit instead of -9. Holy cow, that is a huge increase. So what this essentially means is you can just do whatever you want. This move is 13 frames. So that means only 6 frames compared to where your opponent is. They don't have a 6-frame move, so if your timing's on point, you can actually frame trap with this. With that said, I really hope at some point NetherRealm adds input buffer on hit, because you're gonna have to really practice timing this thing. But even so, once you do have the timing down, that's gonna be a pretty slick frame trap. And honestly, due to the pushback on hit, you could try going for forward 2 again. They could maybe squeeze out a button, but the distance is so far, they would likely just get whiff punished, so it's not a good idea for them to go for that. I like this change a lot. It makes Spawn a lot more offensive. What's this like in the corner? Is the pushback still there? No, he stays right in your face. Wow. That means you can just go straight for his 2-4 string. So this string that I hate doing so much because I'm bad at it, that's +4. And once you land this string King of Heck, you can now just go straight into that, and the opponent pretty much has to respect it. Wow, that is scary. And once again, when you're fighting the average player online, they do not know how to flawless block. So once you have the average player cornered and you land this string and just go straight into this, they're not going to know what to do. You're just going to be plus all the time. That's so scary. I like how this change will likely make Spawn a lot more aggressive and have more frame advantage on hit, but also I think it makes it a bit better than this string, because I pretty much always went for this string no matter what, because it was safer on block and the damage was fine too. But now that this move is better on hit, you actually have reasons to go for it. That's really nice. It's going to be a great whiff punish now. Now, as you can see, it is still -17 on block, so I don't recommend just throwing it out in the neutral. But if the opponent presses a button and you see it miss, you can go for this, and now you're at +7, which is really good. Once again, they have to block your back one. They have to respect it. And next up, we have what some might call a nerf, but really it's just a normalization. So before, when Spawn did his uppercut, or his down 2, he was completely high and vulnerable, even though his body stood up that high. So even during recovery, he could just never be hit. He avoided high attacks during the entire duration of his uppercut, and now that's no longer the case. You can actually hit him during the recovery frames because he's standing up so tall. And I think this change is completely fair, though I am gonna miss making people rage with this glitch, I guess you could call it, because it did make people rage quit. Like, I had quitalities because they tried to punish me and they couldn't with a high attack, and that made people so salty. So I'm gonna miss that, but I do think this change makes a lot of sense. And this next change also has me excited. So now the first hit of amplified charging Hellspawn does not have combo scale, which means in summary, Spawn's combos hurt more now than they already did. And for anyone who's not aware, they already hurt quite a lot. Oh my god, look at that. Almost 39% for just 1 bar, and that wasn't even an optimal combo. That's just a typical bread and butter. Oh, look at that. You're now getting almost 41% for a more optimal combo. That's sick. Once again, a whiff punish, but look at that. 1 bar over 40%. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I guess in summary, Spawn is now one of the highest damaging characters in the entire game, which he already was, but just look at this punish combo. This much damage for a single punish. And that's partly due to this damage scaling buff. Charging Hellspawn now does less combo scaling. That is awesome. More damage, baby, more damage. And this last change has to do with his variation 3. So now the upheld chain has reduced gravity. Does that mean you can combo after it? So jump and then catch her really early? Oh yeah, that's the point. So now if it anti-airs, you can actually get stuff off of it. That's really cool, and depending on when you catch them, it pops them straight up. If you do it a bit too late, it knocks them away, but if they're airborne, it pops them straight up, and you can now get stuff off of that. That's pretty sick. Okay, I like this change. I think it reinforces a lot how Variation 3 is a grappler / spacing variation. So it's a funny mix of like up close zoning and also up close command grab low shenanigans. So it's a mix up variation, but also has some decent space control. I like that. This is gonna be a lot of fun. In fact, I can do the command grab, can't I? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. You can also go invisible there. And maybe that was already the case. Oops, did not mean to get the crushing blow, but now you see how much damage you will do if you land that as an anti-air while invisible. Check that out. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I pretty much never used this move, so I'm not sure if you could already combo off of this move when it anti-aired, but now you definitely can because the gravity has been reduced. Once again, a very nice change. And that's actually it for Spawn's changes. He didn't get too much, and a lot of them had to do with every variation. They were universal changes, but also Variation 2 and Variation 3 got some love as well, and even Variation 1 got a bit of a stealth buff because his low parry now works on a lot of mid attacks as long as the opponent is crouching. So a lot of down 1s and down 3s, even if they hit mid, can still be countered by Spawn's low parry stance. So just keep that in mind. Variation 1 also got a bit stronger as well. So a bit of love to all 3 variations and a couple of universal changes as well. And now let's talk about Joker. I'll be honest, Joker is a ton of fun to play, but he is a nightmare to fight against. It feels like he's taking pretty much no risk and still getting a ton of rewards. So unlike Spawn, who risks his own booty but gets a lot of damage if you guess correctly, a character like Joker gets pretty much the same damage but is risking basically nothing whenever he goes for it. And if you're a Joker main, I do have some bad news because pretty much everything on this list is a nerf. So first up we have his forward 1 known as Card Trick. This now does 30 damage instead of 50, and this move is a very big deal for starting off combos, especially in Variation 3, and now those combos are going to do a little bit less damage because this first hit has had its damage reduced. And as you're about to see, this happened to quite a few of Joker's moves. A lot of them had their damage reduced even though it's only a little bit. Like this move, for example, called this now does less damage. It does 30 instead of 50 as well, and that's a bit of a shame because I love this move to end combos, and I'm not sure if it's the most damaging option anymore, but a very basic combo was something like this. No, and look at that, you're only getting about 26% now, so not nearly as much as you used to for that string. So it's still very damaging, but not nearly as much as it used to be. That name is appropriate now because the damage got nerfed. I hate it, says the Joker player. And this next change could be considered the nerf, but once again, it's just normalization. So before, if Joker did a jumping 2 immediately, it would actually still count as an overhead, and now that's no longer the case. If you do manage to hit this move the second you're leaving the ground, it will be a mid, just like every other jumping attack. It will no longer be treated as an overhead, so you can block it standing, block it crouching, all that good stuff. So as an example, check out Joker's jumping kick. So it's a mid on the way up, but on the way down, it's an overhead, and that is the same for his jumping too. Before, it was an overhead the entire time. Even if you caught it on the way up like this, it was still an overhead, it would catch you crouching. Now that's no longer the case, it only counts as an overhead on the way down. Now I'm not quite sure how that ever landed as an overhead on the way up, however I do know that Joker was breaking the game in more ways than one, so let me know in the comment section how that setup actually worked because I am curious how he hit them on the way up with this move. And next up we have this alphabet move, which I'm not going to read out loud because that would be tedious and unnecessary, but this is actually his armor breaking move now, which is kind of crazy. However, according to the notes, Joker does recover faster when he breaks armor, and the reaction on hit is different for the opponent, so let's check that out. Man, that is tough to land. I'm not gonna lie, that's really tough to land. It's probably gonna need the corner to actually happen. Okay, so look at that. They're popped in the air and they're floated a little bit. And keep in mind, I have them set to late, and I could still barely make it there in time. I imagine it would work better here if they broke right away, and you would actually catch them, but look at all that distance. I don't think it would work there either. Man, this may be one of the weaker crushing blows in the game. And that is a trend people have pointed out in the comments section, like the top tier characters tend to have pretty bad armor breaking moves. Let's move to the corner though, and see if we can actually combo after it there. I bet we can. So launch. Okay, so like a forward 1 will work. I don't think a 1-2-1 will work. I was trying to relaunch, but I don't think that's possible. I'll try again. Oh, it is. So you can totally do fun stuff like that in the corner. So once you have the corner, this could actually be a nightmare of a move because you can actually land it. But if the opponent breaks right away, as you just saw, you can't really get it. Like I'm doing it as early as possible and it's not happening. I'll try to go a bit earlier, but I don't think it's... Oh, it is possible. Okay, so you gotta be really, really fast with it, but let's imagine they delay instead. Then in the corner, you can even do it after a meterless launcher, and that's gonna make it very frustrating for your opponent. Just keep in mind you can't do the relauncher there, so you're gonna wanna go straight into the ender, and the timing is not easy. I'll be honest with you, the recovery timing is pretty weird, but you can get some attacks afterwards. But even so, once you do master the timing, you're getting some really good damage in the corner. Now for mid-screen, I'm not gonna lie, it seems like a pretty lousy armor break. I wouldn't recommend going for it most of the time, but once you have the opponent cornered, it doesn't cost any meter and it relaunches them. And while the timing is a bit difficult, once you master it, the damage is pretty high because we are still playing Joker. And last but not least, a large amount of Joker's attacks now do reduced damage inside Jackie's Tech Dome. And these attacks include Puppet Parry Amplify, Corpse Trot Amplify, Kapow, and Kapow Amplify. So all of the moves that I just listed now do less damage if you're inside of Jackie's Tech Dome, which once again is technically a nerf, but it's also just normalizing things. Those attacks should have already done less damage and they didn't before. Once again, Joker broke the game in a lot of ways, and that was just one more example. And that is it for Joker's changes. Once again, they are sadly mostly nerfs, so if you're a Joker main, that's going to be a bit hard of a pill to swallow, but if you hated fighting Joker, then rejoice because he mostly got nerfed. His bread and butter combos now do a lot less damage, his best mid has been nerfed, and his standing 2 has been nerfed as well, which means his most damaging way to end combos in a lot of situations has been nerfed too. So for mid-screen, his combos just hurt a lot less. He also has one of the weaker armor breaks in the game, at least from mid-screen. Now thankfully, once you have the corner, it's actually a fairly decent armor break, but if the opponent doesn't drop, you're getting way less damage than you would have because by itself it doesn't hurt that much. And if you're a Joker main, I wouldn't freak out. He still has amazing spacing like this string right here, which crushing blows on counter hit, but is only -11 with all that pushback, so no one's punishing this thing ever. He still has a very fast mid, a very fast low, all that good stuff. He's still definitely a threat, I wouldn't worry. His combos still hurt quite a lot, even if the damage was reduced, especially in the corner, so he still is the combo king as long as the opponent doesn't have breakaway. If they do, your armor break kinda sucks, but his combo damage is still really good. I wouldn't freak out. But please let me know your thoughts on these changes in the comment section down below. And then while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.